the Ryder Cup and who may or may not captain Team Europe in the next Ryder Cup, that being 2027. talkSPORT's golf correspondent Rupert Bell joins us live. Rupert, good morning to you. What's left of it? Justin Rose reportedly set to announce that he'll officially withdraw his name as a candidate to be the next European Ryder Cup captain. Have you heard similar? And if so, who else is in there?
Well, the cupboard's a bit bare. Justin Rose, when I spoke to him just after the victory in the Ryder Cup, he still sees himself as a very competitive player. And I think he still sees that even when he said the next Ryder Cup, I think he's 45 now, he'll be 46, 47 come the next Ryder Cup. But the fact is he's had a stellar year. And I think if he committed to becoming captain, which he, on the face of it, would be an obvious choice, you might suddenly end up in a Keegan Bradley scenario, because he actually still might be playing the kind of golf that would see him automatically get into the team. And I think he still feels, given his results this year and the way he played in the Ryder Cup, that 2 years down the line, he still will be an integral playing member. But Luke Donald's the problem. What does he do? Does he want to go for a third? He's achieved probably as more than he would have expected. Remember, he was a last-minute call-up for Italy. He stayed on for America and got the team over the line as captain. Does he want to go again for another 2 years for Ireland? Where do we go after that? Francesco Molinari might be the obvious choice. But, of course, all the ones that you would expect, Sergio Garcia, you would expect maybe, Graham McDowell's putting his name in the hat, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood. They, of course, are now on the LIV bandwagon and so therefore have been ruled out as possible captains.
Where do you think it's going, Danny?
Well, I think it probably looks like Luke Donald will do it again. It's hard for any person who has that much success not to want to go with the momentum and stick with it. Is it possible, Rupert, that some of those guys you mentioned on LIV could leave LIV and then be available?
Well, look, there's some changes going on with LIV now in terms of their suddenly now a 72-hole tournament and various changes. At the moment, the Europe DP World Tour have made it pretty clear that now they've gone there, they will no longer be considered for Ryder Cup captaincy. Obviously, we've had John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton playing in it, and remember, the rules are a bit wishy-washy in terms of how they allowed it, and so there are still legal things going on. But the DP World Tour, you get the impression, are almost trying to sort of brush it under the carpet, and don't rule it out, I suppose you might say, but I don't necessarily think for Ireland it might be further down the line, because someone like Sergio Garcia has got the Ryder Cup running through his veins and was a brilliant player. And you thought, well, would he step up and be a good captain? But Francesco Molinari has been his Luke Donald's sidekick, and Eduardo Molinari is the stats guru. Maybe you see a sort of combo of the two. It's a bit of a mess for the DP World Tour, because there aren't obvious candidates outside Justin Rose, who's now said no, and Luke Donald doing it for a third time. But does he want to do it for a third time? Because it's been all-consuming for him.
Yeah, Rupert, before you leave us, I mean, it came with a whole lot of noise, money, and maybe not a lot else. And I'm talking about LIV Golf. 3 years on, LIV Golf, we know, is changing its 54-hole format next season to move to a regular 72-hole tournament. It's just finished its fourth season. The players love it. The estimated outlay by the Saudi Public Investment Fund on the LIV project is now close to $5 billion US. What is LIV Golf right now?
Well, now it's going to be a conventional 72-hole stroke play event with a team element. And they can't call it LIV anymore, because that's Roman for 54. They're going to have to call it LXX11 from now on to give it the proper Roman numerals. But the fact of the matter is, I think they're desperate for world ranking points. Went to give the LIV Golf credibility. And because at the moment, they aren't able to earn any world ranking points. So they're all plummeting down the rankings. Okay, Tom McKibben, who's LIV, but he won in Hong Kong to qualify for the Open and the Masters. So I think they see this as a way to persuade the World Golf Ranking Organization that we are now conforming to every other tournaments around the world. And that is what they want. And I think the new chief executive, Scott O'Neill, realizes this and is trying to bring in, but it leaves the DP World Tour still in limbo, and they're working with the PGA Tour. the DP World Tour is the problem at the moment. It's in hock to the PGA Tour, but ultimately they should probably have done a deal with LIV back in the day, because that would have probably made more sense to them, because they would have had so much of this Saudi money coming into the DP World Tour. But it's a big change, and maybe we'll see players getting golf rankings through playing in the tournaments next year.
Rupert, thanks very much indeed. I remember when it came on the scene, Simon, and it came on, as I said, with a lot of noise. Yeah, promising a lot of money, which it did, but not a lot else.
But it's interesting. We talk about how we should always eat what's on our plate and not worry about the future so much. But when we're looking about future captains of the Ryder Cup team, it's interesting when you talk about how things can change. Graham Gooch went on a rebel tour to South Africa and came back 3 years later after being banned and captain England. So if there's a desire to find a solution about how you play people or get people into positions of authority and influence, you'll find a solution. Yeah. I would imagine that the next set of Ryder captains will come out of players that have played on the LIV Tour.
Yeah, it's looking that way. LIV Golf, all of a sudden, not hitting the headlines as it did when it first was launched in the scene, Danny.
Broadcaster.
Well, I suppose the majority of players don't really care because they've already had the financial benefit, and that's why they went.
Yeah.
So depending on their contract lengths, if it picks up, great. If it deteriorates, they can jump back.
I think, if I remember rightly, the first LIV Golf tournament was won by Charles Schwartzel, the South African, and he was super pleased to hear that the winning check was $4 million. Thereafter, everybody wanted to play, but maybe not so much now.